Is this Vere's last chance for survival? Can Racing bounce back in the race for top 6? And is Jamaica in the Gold Cup group of death? All this and more on this Match Week 36 preview show. Yeah, people, welcome back to Jamaica Fan. Before we tackle what's to come this weekend, let's rewind to midweek for a couple of JPL matches. On Wednesday, Cavalier hosted Portmore United in a rescheduled game and took home all 3 points thanks to the 55th minute winner from Shaquille Steen. On Thursday, in another rescheduled game, Mount Pleasant hosted Racing United on a very soggy pitch but got all 3 points thanks to this winner from former Racing player Raheem Edwards. Okay, now we're all caught up, let's get on with the first match. Vere United versus Tivoli Gardens. Vere are currently in 14th place, 9 points from safety, and with a minus 36 goal difference. With only 4 matches remaining this season, this weekend's match is essentially a final and a game they just have to win. If they lose this Sunday and both Harbourview and Humber Lion win their games, they are virtually relegated. Again, if you are a Vere fan and looking for any sort of hope, the team's performance has been much improved as of late despite the results. But the fact remains, Vere are winless in their last 7 and now they face a Tivoli team that's currently fighting for a top 6 and they won't make life easy. The West Kingston men are fresh off a combative derby match with Arnett Guns, are themselves unbeaten in the last 8, and of course, we can't forget that they too have something to fight for as they chase down Waterhouse for the final playoff spot. The last match between these two saw Tivoli getting all 3 points, but they could only manage a draw in their last visit to the Wembley Centre of Excellence. Such results will be no help to Vere, of course, so this is a must-watch when Tivoli Gardens comes to town this Sunday. Waterhouse versus Humber Lion. That match will be done and dusted before the Lions take the field in Jerusalem. A bit of advantage, but with the likes of Lions and Harbourview also in the relegation mix, they will need a positive result regardless of what happens in Clarendon. Humber Lion lost their first home match under new coach Alex Thomas last weekend against Portmore, but the general consensus taken from that game was that it was a good performance nonetheless. But Alex hasn't quite cracked the code in getting his troops to perform on the same level on the road, and he will need to do so quickly as Waterhouse have been on a decent run of form these last couple of weeks. The impressive form of Andre Fletcher is a major reason for why they currently sit in 6th, and when you combine that with the resurgent Leonardo Jamison and an improving back line, you will be a real gambler to bet against them now. But Humber Lion need this victory and will hope the result mirrors their last encounter where they won 2-1 back in February. But this game will be in Jerusalem where Waterhouse have been much better as of late, and they would be hoping to mirror their last match against the Lions at this venue where they won 2-0. This is another cracking match in the making when Waterhouse hosts Humber Lion this Sunday at 6 p.m. Dumbo Holding versus Lions United. This relegation party isn't quite over just yet as we turn our attention to Lions United, who too are in desperate need of 3 points. They are currently in 13th spot with 29 points. They too will be hoping for the Lions to slip up in Jerusalem, but they can't afford to be distracted as they must collect 3 points in Dumbo Holding. But coach Jermaine Thomas will be praying that his strikers finally have a good day after seeing his team go scoreless in 3 of the last 4 matches. While Dumbo Holding are themselves far from safety after losing 8 of their last 9 matches. After receiving that new coach bounce since coach Harold Thomas returned, the team's play had become rather stale and simply lacked a bit of urgency. They also has been shipping goals galore during that run, letting in 19 goals. What's even more concerning, their once unbeatable home form has deserted them as of late, even losing to 2 relegation-threatened teams, Harbourview and Chapeltown Maroons, in recent weeks. But what Dumbo Holding does have is a victory in the last meeting between these 2 teams, making this one a fascinating encounter when Dumbo Holding hosts Lions United this Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Harbourview versus Cavalier. Cavalier's result against Portmore on Thursday means they are now on a 4-game unbeaten run and all but showed up a playoff spot. I know Rudolph Speed won't be happy until it's official, but it would take a massive collapse of epic proportions for them to somehow miss the postseason. or maybe their remaining fixtures will pose problems as they will face 4 of the relegation threatened teams in the remaining matches. And strangely enough, Cavaliers have dropped majority of their points this season against those type of opponents. Harbourview especially enjoyed playing against the Duncan Destroyers so far this season, taking an impressive 4 points away from them. And they will need some of that good fortune to return this weekend as their recent run of form has not been kind. With only 1 win in their last 6 games, the Stars of the East sit just outside the relegation zone and will need to better the results of their rivals in the remaining games. And it's a brutal run-in because after Cavaliers, they will face both Arnett and Tivoli before ending with Vere, so they will need the results starting this weekend. I personally just hope we get some goals this time around after both teams played to a 0-0 draw at the compound back in November. We will find out how it goes when Harbourview hosts Cavaliers this Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Portmore versus Arnett. Speaking of Portmore United, I am not sure, but they got to have broken a record for the most 1-0 scorelines in a single season. Their 1-0 defeat to Cavaliers was their 4th match in a row where the game was decided by a single goal, stating clearly if you are looking for an entertaining team, you may need to look elsewhere as their defense continues to be stellar, but their attack remains lacking. What's even more peculiar, Portmore does generate decent amount of chances per game, but they simply lack some killer instinct. As for the Junglists, there are 1 of 3 teams that are officially qualified for the playoffs, but I don't think they will take their foot off the pedal just yet, as they currently sit in 3rd place after Mobile leapfrogged them last week and would want to regain their 2nd place to avoid the first run of the playoffs. As for their head-to-head record this season, no surprise, both games have been close with a 0-0 back in February and a late 1-0 win for the Junglists back in November. I honestly expect the same to happen again this weekend when Portmore United hosts Arnett this Sunday at Fernita Park. Chapelton Maroons versus Mount Pleasant. The Maroons saw a good run of form snapped by Racing last week in what I consider to be their worst defensive display under new coach Vassar Reynolds. That result left them still in danger of the drop zone and will need everything in their armory to stop again a rampaging Mount Pleasant. The league leaders have officially gone over their dip in form since the international break with back-to-back victories, and heck, even Mother Nature could not stop them in their match against a good Racing team, and they got even stronger with 3 new Haitian internationals recently arriving at the club. And the rich just keep getting richer when their young academy players just keep getting better and better each time they play. It's definitely an uphill task for the Maroons to get a positive result out of this one, but at least they can boast that both of their previous meetings this season, they kept things close. Games are running out though, but I'm quite sure Reynolds will be very happy if he picks up a point this Monday. We will see if he does when Chapelton Maroons host Mount Pleasant 5 p.m. at the Anthony Spalding Complex. Racing United versus Montego Bay United. Racing saw their hopes for a top 6 finish take a slight hit with a loss to Mount Pleasant last Thursday, and will know, despite still having a game in hand, time is running out. The good news, the team is still performing at a high level and know they have the impressive Ronaldo Biggs fit and raring to go. I doubt they will be fazed by the loss to Mount Pleasant in such bad weather and will be looking to take the fight to this weekend's opponent, Montego Bay United. They may have started a bit slow under new coach Paul Teagot Davis, but with them finding the goals again and being unbeaten in their last 13 games, I will say this is now firmly his team. But they struggle somewhat to break down better defenses in this league, and Racing will definitely provide a good test. In fact, their last meeting back in February, Mobile failed to break them down and saw the game ending 0-0, so I'm intrigued what plans Teagot has cooking this time around. Maybe the fact that Racing needs to win a bit more might make this game a much more open affair, and the neutral may get treated to some goals. Let's all hope for the latter when Racing United hosts Montego Bay United this Monday at the Anthony Spalding Complex. Alright, that's it for the preview, but before the predictions, here are the news. The Reggae Boyz recently learned their Gold Cup fate with the official draw taking place last night in Miami. Jamaica hasn't been drawn in Group C along with Panama, Guatemala and Guadeloupe. The Reggae Boys' first match will be on a Monday, June 16, when they face Guatemala. Then they will face Guadeloupe on Friday, June 20, before ending this group stages with Panama on a Tuesday, June 24th. In more national team news, the Reggae Girls has locked in another international friendly before their World Cup qualifiers, this time against the world power USA. The match will take place on June 3rd at the Energizer Stadium in St. Louis, with kickoff slated for 6 p.m. Jamaica time. And finally, Montego Bay United signed another top talent ahead of the playoffs. As first reported by Bound Sports TV, the club from the second city signed 27-year-old Peter Lee Vassell as a free agent for the remainder of the 2024-2025 Ray and Neff Jamaica Premier League season. Now for the fun part, the predictions. Alright, we'll start with a big game, of course, Vere versus Tivoli. I think Vere will put up a much better fight this time, but Tivoli has been grinding out results lately. I say Vere 1, Tivoli 2. Waterhouse versus Humble Lion. I think both teams will play fairly well, but I see this game ending Waterhouse 1, Humble Lion 1. Dumbolin versus Malines United. Honestly, I can't call this game. It's very difficult, and it could easily end up Dumbolin 0, Malines 0. Harborview versus Cavalier. The last time these two teams faced each other in the compound, it was 0-0. I would say Cavalier edges 1-0. Portmore versus Arnett Gardens. Another game that just screams 0-0 at me, but I think Arnett will shade it once again. I say Portmore 0, Arnett 1. Chapelton Maroons versus Mount Pleasant. Chapelton has kept things tight against Mount Pleasant in their two matches, but I think they will lose this one again. I think it's Maroons 0, Mount Pleasant 2. Racing versus Montego Bay United. A tough match to call, but I also think this will be Racing 1, Montego Bay United 1. Alright guys, that's all I got on this latest preview show. Thank you all for watching, and please like, subscribe and share as we look to keep you all up to date on everything in the JPL leading up to the final in May. Otherwise, with great JPL content, you're already at the right place. JPL fan. YouTube, big up yourself.